He finalized the letter by saying this, Mr. Speaker: I am committed to leading an open, honest government that is accountable to Canadians, lives up to the highest ethical standards, brings our country together, and applies the utmost care and prudence in the handling of public funds. What an absolute joke, let alone disgrace to the Canadians who voted him into power into 2015. Because we've seen nothing but an open, honest, ethical government. And just to name a few of the scandals that we have discussed over the last 9 years, we all remember Gropegate. We remember Elbowgate. We remember blackface, with the Prime Minister not even remember how many times he wore blackface. We all remember the disgraceful comment to an Indigenous proud woman at a fundraiser: "Thank you for your donation." We remember the experience it differently.
Point of order to the honourable member for Timmins James Bay.
Yeah, I think he just misrepresented. The disgraceful comment was the leader of the Conservatives who said Indigenous people needed to learn how to work hard.
That's we're following the debate again. So yeah, I appreciate the help, but let's stick to the points of order for this House. The honourable member for Brantford Brant.
A point of order instead of disrupting all the time.
So where I was interrupted with not a point of order but debate was I was talking about experiencing it differently by our Prime Minister. We of course know the SNC scandal. We know the WE scandal, the ArriveCan scandal, which continues to be debated in committee and in this House, the Green Slush Fund scandal that is approaching $1 billion of wasteful taxpayer dollars. Shame. We remember foreign interference that is still a problem with our democracy. We remember Billionaires Row condo scandal. And now, Mr. Speaker, we have the other Randy scandal. For the past 9 years, this Prime Minister
scandal
has led the most ethically compromised government in Canadian history. It took him more than a year of foot dragging to appoint an ethics commissioner. Probably because, without one, he and his government and his backbench wouldn't be investigated for bad, unethical behavior. From his frequent taxpayer-funded vacations, his protection of SNC Lavalin, granting a government contract to a company that gave money to his family members, handing out billions of dollars to well-connected Liberal insiders and consultants, the Prime Minister has a long track record of using government to benefit himself and his friends, and Liberal MPs are learning from the best.
We are back for question period and House of Commons proceedings. We've had a long break. We've had about a week. Had a week to let the scripts be rewritten, a week to allow the MPs to come together and talk about how they're going to screw Canadians even further. But we got some interesting news here before we get into House of Commons proceedings. It's been interesting. A lot of crazy stuff has been happening. First things first, though. First reading. The Trump cabinet really hates Trudeau. Wow. Join the crew. Join the gang of people who despise Trudeau. It's international at this point. It is worldwide. Canada has been made fun of numerous times due to Trudeau's leadership and his lack of care for Canadians. U.S. administrations usually don't have strong opinions about Canada. Not this time. As Trump fills out his cabinet, it's becoming clear that his appointees have vocal opinions on Canadian politics and see the government of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau as the emblem of everything they oppose. The emblem, the poster child, if you would, of everything the Trump cabinet despises. Crazy stuff. I mean, there's been a lot of articles coming out. You know, you've seen it from the first term with Trump. Not a lot of good things happened between him and Trudeau. Trump actually ignored Trudeau numerous times because Trudeau is just a weak leader. He doesn't have a voice. You saw the videos of the old G20 summit meetings where everybody was huddled around Trump and Trudeau was standing on the outside looking in, being absolutely ignored. He wasn't even there to the rest of the G20 leaders. And I've said it before, the exact same thing is going to happen again. Trump has come back, second term, Trudeau, still incompetent, still weak, still not a great leader, and it's going to be even worse. I said it in the video yesterday. 2025 is going to be an insane year for Canada. Trump is going to be pushing really hard on us to be paying forward on a lot of things. We have a lot of issues here to fix, and it's also an election year, so who knows what's going to happen next year. This is coming from the Globe and Mail. More than half of Canadians say Trudeau should be replaced, as Liberal Party leader polls show. Yeah, people have been saying this for years now. People have been saying this for a very long time. And even the mainstream media, they've been running a lot on Trudeau here. They've been bashing the ever-living hell out of him, and rightfully so. It's just a matter of time that the mainstream media actually kind of got a quarter of a brain, maybe even an eighth of a brain, and started reporting legitimate news over just whatever BS fits their narrative.
Order.
Greg's not happy.
Oral questions.
Hey, question
Honourable Leader
period
of
has
the official
begun.
opposition.
Let's go.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister is still acting like a firefighter who's setting fires. Now he's blaming immigration on bad actors instead of himself. He decided to open the door to 725,000 asylum seeker requests in 5 years. He approved a 211% increase in international students. He allowed foreign workers in communities with high levels of unemployment. If there are bad actors, should he not look in the mirror? The Honourable Minister of Immigration. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I think that Canadians expect any responsible government to take decisive actions, and you saw the levels I tabled last week, a 20% decrease in permanent resident, and the PBO himself has said that we have to meet our housing needs, and the member across the way wants to go to election. He has no plan. Perhaps in terms of math, he said that they'll build 6 units, and he can count to 6. So, the Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Maniac masquerading as a firefighter, this time on immigration. He blames bad actors for his decisions on that destroyed our immigration system. He decided to increase and open the door to 726% more asylum claims. He decided to approve 211% more international students. He decided to lift the ban on temporary foreign workers in communities with already high unemployment. If the Prime Minister is hunting for the quote-unquote bad actors who ruined the system, will he have a look in the mirror?
Oh, let the clown look in the mirror.
And citizenship.
Mr. Speaker, I don't think we'll take any lessons from someone who spent the last 20 years lighting fires in the House of Commons. That's it. We put forward a plan 2 weeks ago to reduce immigration levels by 20%. Canadians expect us to be responsible and to react to their needs. That's what we're doing with this plan. The Parliamentary Budget Officer himself has said that this new plan will reduce housing needs by 50%. That's what Canadians want. It's responsible.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, the Employment Minister first denied that he and his company were profiting off government business, and then text messages showed the contrary. They referred to a Randy. Well, he claimed that it was another Randy. We now know there is no other Randy. We know he falsely claimed he was Indigenous in order so that his company could steal resources that were meant for real Indigenous people. And now his company address matches the address of a place that was the location of 2 cocaine busts. Any one of these things would be a resigning offense. Why won't he resign now?
Yo, give it to him. Trudeau hanging out with Pablo Escobar.
The Honourable Minister for Employment and Workforce Development.
Mr. Speaker, I know the person referred to in today's article. I've never met that person. I've had no dealings with her whatsoever. Those are the facts.
You are Randy. You are Randy.
Order.
We found the Randy.
Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
Apparently, the person he doesn't know is himself. He says that he's not the Randy in the text messages, but his own business associates say there is no other Randy.
No, it's the other Randy.
He said that he was Indigenous in order that he could get grants and contracts that were meant just for Indigenous people. Now he admits he's not Indigenous at all. And now, while his company has the same address as a place that has 2 cocaine busts, he says he doesn't know the person involved in that address either. Does this minister even know who he is?
The Honourable Minister for Employment and Workforce Development.
Mr. Speaker, the article states...
Ask all members, please. There's the Honourable Minister for Employment and Workforce Development from the top.
Mr. Speaker, I don't know the person referred to in the article today. I've never met her. I've had no dealings with her whatsoever. The article states that fact, and that is the fact.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
After the Prime Minister took his private jet, burned 105 tons of jet fuel, and emitted 300 tons of greenhouse gases to go down to Brazil, he claimed that Canadians who are opposed to his carbon tax are just confused by disinformation. No, Canadians aren't stupid, Mr. Speaker. They know that the Parliamentary Budget Officer has calculated that 100% of middle-class Canadians pay more in the tax than they get back. The Prime Minister already also said, though, that this will be the subject of the next election. I couldn't agree more. So why don't we have a carbon tax election now?
The Honourable Minister for... Order.
Greg is not going to be a happy
The Honourable
camper.
Minister for Natural Resources. And
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Once again, it would be nice if the Leader of the Opposition was not spouting disinformation and misinformation in the House. At the end of the day, 8 out of 10 Canadian families, the vast majority of Canadians, get more money back. It is those that actually live on the most modest incomes that are the best off as a result of the price on pollution. But I would also say it is a price on pollution. It is about addressing climate change, something that organization across the way simply has no idea how to do and does not care.
The Honourable Member for La Prairie. The next few hours will be critical for our agriculture. Senators Peter Boehm and Peter Harder have literally sabotaged Bill C-282. They amended it to prevent it from protecting supply management in existing trade agreements. Imagine, while Donald Trump wants to reopen NAFTA, these guys want to serve him supply management on a silver platter. The Senate could vote on this amendment as early as tomorrow, so all the party leaders have to speak out, starting with the Prime Minister. Will he ask the senators to defeat the amendment and save supply management? The Honourable Government House Leader. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yes, on this side of the House, we're asking senators to support Bill C-282 in its original form, because we do believe in supply management. We believe in our farmers in Canada, whether it's dairy farmers or others, to ensure that they do have protection. We agree with the Bloc, and we want to pass this legislation in its original form. The Honourable Member for La Prairie. Their excuse is that they're saying that the independence of senators is at stake, but they appointed them, and they are sabotaging C-82. One of them even advised the Prime Minister. And what's more, they're both fighting to sponsor government bills. So let's be serious. The Prime Minister can and must demand that senators pass Bill C-282 as voted by all parties in this House. We're talking about the future of supply management. It's serious. Will all the leaders in this House demand that senators vote against this amendment? The Honourable Minister. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My colleague, this House, Canadians, they know that a Liberal government will vote for this bill in its full form. And it's a good question. Will the Conservative Party leader ask the Conservative senators, to vote for this bill in its original integral form? Order, please. The honourable member for Rosemont-La-Petite-Patrie. Mr. Speaker, people are having a hard time making ends meet. Rents have doubled, and grocery prices just don't make sense anymore. Clearly, the Liberals have let people down. And the Conservatives, they're going to cut
people
everything,
down as well,
including the Canada Child Benefit and dental care. Who's going to pay the price? Quebecers. We at the NDP are going to eliminate taxes on basic products like food, hydro, internet, and cell phone bills. Will the Liberals eliminate the GST on basic necessities? The Honourable Minister of Public Services and Procurement. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Our colleague is right in terms of the importance of supporting the middle class and all those who are working hard to join it. And that is why it's really sad to see the Conservatives voting against dental care. And the NDP also worked really hard to put it in place. So 1 million Quebecers now have their dental care card, and they want to move forward with this in 2025. We're going to sign up more Quebecers and Canadians between 18 years and up.
The honourable member from Vancouver Kingsway.
Mr. Speaker, working and now middle-class families are cutting back on their groceries. They're getting less and getting gouged at the till by greedy CEOs. Liberals let this happen and are letting families down. Conservatives will cut and cost families even more. They'll take away important services like dental care, costing families thousands of dollars a year. The NDP's tax-free essentials plan removes the GST from grocery items to bring families relief. Will the Liberals take the tax off grocery items so Canadians can get a break?
The Honourable Minister for Innovation.
Mr. Speaker, I would agree with the member that what we're going to see from the Conservative is cut, Mr. Speaker. Right. They're going to cut dental care. They're going to cut child benefit. Mr. Speaker, Canadians at home know that on this side of the House, we will always stand for the middle class. We will always stand on those who are working hard to join the middle class. We will fight for Canadians as we've done on grocery. We will build more homes, Mr. Speaker. We will create economic opportunities. We will fight for workers. We will create jobs. We will create opportunities and possibilities for this country so the middle class can thrive, Mr. Speaker.
9 years. On a couple of occasions, I've caught the voice of the honourable member from New Westminster.
It's funny, they claim they're going to do all that stuff, build homes, all this, bring opportunities back, jobs. They've had 10 years to do that, and they've done the exact opposite.
Honourable member from Thornhill.
It seems like every time the employment minister finds rock bottom, it keeps getting worse. First, he said he wasn't the Randy involved in his company, but we know there was only one Randy at his company. He said he wasn't involved with his company while in cabinet, and text messages reveal that he is. He said that he was Indigenous to profit from government contracts stealing from First Nations communities, and now there's new news of coordinating business activities with drug smugglers and convicts. This is the behavior of a low-life fraud, not a federal cabinet minister. Simple question. How does that guy still have his job?
How do any of them over there on that side still have their job with the condition Canada is currently in? Ooh.
Order. Order.
Oh, we got some drama. Greg is looking happy as always.
For Employment and Workforce Development.
Mr. Speaker, despite the innuendo, here are the facts. I don't know the person in question. I never met that person in question. And Mr. Speaker, those are simply the facts. The article even says that I've never met the person in question. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member from Thornhill.
Speaker, here are the facts. He flaunts the ethics rules. He claims a false identity. He gets caught in a web of lies. That's what the Prime Minister rewards after 9 years. With each passing day, we find out more about the Employment Minister's scams and schemes, and we learn that he's just a phony and a fraud. Canadians want to know. Indigenous communities who stole from him, who he stole from, want to know. And Liberal backbenchers want to know when the Prime Minister is going to fire that Cabinet Minister.
The Honourable Minister for Employment and Workforce Development.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I don't know the person in the article from today. I've never met the person in the article from today. Those are the facts, Mr. Speaker. The Conservatives may not like it, but it's actually in the article that I don't know the person in question. Never met them.
The Honourable Member from Leeds, Grenville, Thousand Islands and Rideau Lakes.
The Liberal minister from Alberta is a fake and a fraud. He said he was not the Randy involved in his company, but we know that there's only one Randy. He said he wasn't involved in his company at the cabinet table.
Oh.
I'm going to ask.
Wow.
Colleagues.
Greg's going to start muting.
Today we've been skating close to the line in terms. Excuse me, colleagues. I will start my comment again if you would give me the privilege of listening. At several occasions today, we've been skating close to the line in terms of what's acceptable language. The Honourable Member from Leeds Grenville, I think, has skated over that line and accusing a direct member. Can I ask the Honourable Member to withdraw that comment and start his question from the top, please?
Come on, Greg. What are you doing?
We start, Speaker, that this Liberal minister from Alberta has been implicated in fraud and media reports. Today, we've seen that. It's very clear.
I'm just going to, I'm not certain if I was having trouble hearing the member. I don't think I heard the withdraw. If he could withdraw and start again, I would appreciate it. If members were not to take the floor while a member is being recognized, the Speaker will be able to hear the member. The Honourable Member from Leeds, Grenville, Thousand Islands and Rideau Lakes.
Withdrawing the previous words, Speaker, we'll talk about this Liberal minister from Alberta who has been implicated in media reports in fraud. Some of them he's even apologized for. He misrepresented his identity, claiming to be Indigenous, trying to steal contracts from people who are in fact Indigenous. This same minister said that he wasn't the Randy at his own company. We know that there was only one Randy at that company. It's pandemic profiteering. We know that there's allegations of fraud. Why is it that this Prime Minister just won't fire that minister?
The Honourable Member, the Honourable Minister for Employment and Workforce Development.
Mr. Speaker, what the member opposite just said is simply not true.
The Honourable Member from Leeds, Grenville, Thousand Islands and Rideau Lakes.
Come up with an actual response.
That with the cocaine connections to the Liberal minister from Alberta, that those Liberals, that Prime Minister, want to allow him to continue to be in cabinet. He said that he was Indigenous to try and steal contracts from individuals who are Indigenous. That's okay as long as you are a Liberal. The company is involved in more than half a dozen lawsuits because of fraud, and that's okay as long as you're a Liberal. They came before committee and said things that we now know weren't true, like it must have been some other Randy. If he won't resign, why won't this Prime Minister fire that fraudster?